Welcome back to Lathlane for the second half of the game between the Demons and the Falcons. So far it's been all the Falcons, 11-7-73, but the Demons 4-4-28. That margin, 45 points here at half-time. Fairly tricky conditions, the breeze, a cold east nor'easter blowing right across the ground, and West Perth have been able to handle those conditions a lot better than Perth, and Perth really need to do something in this third quarter to get back into the game. As you can see by that windsock, blustery and very tricky here at Lathlane today, and believe me, very cold. The wind is certainly a chill factor, no doubt about that, as West Perth come back onto the ground. Smiling so far, but there's a long way to go yet, and sometimes teams can turn it around by one inspirational move by one particular player, and the Demons will be looking for someone like Stephen Pearce to take charge, although I doubt whether he's 100% fit. We saw him leave the ground against Claremont, and he just hasn't had much impact on this game so far, and I really doubt whether Stephen Pearce is up to his usual fitness for this game here this afternoon. The Demons led out by Adrian Barrich, and really he's been a player, he's been very quiet, Brian. He needs to lift his ratings in this second half.
Yeah, sorry, Trev, I'm a bit surprised he was on a half-forward flank for as long as he was. I think he shifted into the centre late in the quarter and perhaps will line up there in the second half.
Comments there from Brian Cousins. He and Wally Foreman have just made a lightning trip back from wherever they... Where were you, Wally? We couldn't find you there for a while.
Iced coffee, I think that's what it was, Trev.
An iced coffee.
Well, it was by the time we got back.
And it's so nice for you to bring one back for me too. I really enjoy the way they help out here. It's so it's all teamwork, isn't it?
Actually, your cake was very nice, Trev.
The lady said we weren't allowed to take the cups out of the room down there.
Oh, right. I knew there'd be a reason. Well, what can Perth do here, Brian? I've asked you that several times today, but you haven't come up with the answers so far.
He was looking for his boots at half time.
Being a state selector, I thought you'd know that, what they could do.
I think there's a message there somewhere, Trev. Well, as I said, it's been an even performance by West Perth, but I can only repeat what I said earlier in the game. I just don't believe the Perth midfielders, are as committed as what the West Perth players are. They've obviously been instructed, I think, very strongly to the West Perth midfielders, when Perth get the ball, to man up, get down into defence, block the defence up, and then work the ball forward and be prepared to run hard. It's a pretty basic rule of football. That's how you play the game, and for some reason today the Perth players aren't doing that, and it's spread right through their midfielders. I'm probably a bit surprised that Ken has left Willie Dick and Adrian Barrich in the forward line for most of the quarter. Willie Dick's one of the most skillful players in the Perth side, and we see this passage of play which I think may result in a Willie Dick goal, with Williams kicking the ball into the forward line. And Troy Davis getting that ball out to Willie Dick that results in a goal, and I think Davis left the ground just after that clash.
West Perth midfielders have been dominant, and generally they finished it off with a touch of class. Valentine again doing a good work in defence. Milton Hall has been brilliant today. This was a clever goal by Curley.
He used his body well there, Trev, didn't he?
Used his body, and certainly was able to curl that around. And Thomas, who was quiet early, started to get into the action in that second quarter, Brian.
Yes, I think he kicked 2 goals for the quarter, Darren Thomas, and a good bit of play here which sets it up initially from Mifka, and Thomas there, a quick snap, and his other goal was scored from a very strong mark in the goal square.
East Perth and Claremont fairly tight in that game, and also tight in the derby, but Subiaco continue their march, and they look as though they're giving Swan Districts plenty to think about at league headquarters. What an amazing turnaround it's been by Subiaco and West Perth so far this year.
Yes, well, if Subiaco win today, Trevor, that will give them 5 wins, and they lost their first 5, and then they've turned it around, won 5 in succession. West Perth, I think, only had 1 victory out of their first 4 appearances, and have rebounded back. So it's a real credit to the clubs concerned, and probably in the case of Tony Solon, I think it's a great effort from his point of view, because as a new coach, to lose 5 in a row to turn it around. It takes a fair bit of work to do that, because perhaps there may not have been enough confidence amongst the players, but he obviously had a philosophy that he was trying to get through, and obviously the influx of the two new recruits in Heatley and O'Brien's been a huge asset to Subiaco.
Well, Hasler and Downs were on the bench for West Perth at the start of this third quarter. It's an important quarter as far as the Demons are concerned. Lambourne sends the Falcons forward. Marnie leads back in the chase for the ball. With him is Mildenhall, a good player in the first half. Here he is again. Wrong foots the pack. West gets it to Tuvey. Tuvey at right centre wing. Infield again to Mildenhall. A very poor hand pass, and that gives Marnie the chance. Russell Thompson with Robert Thompson off the ground, and Pensini starting on the bench with him in this third quarter. There goes the kick from Williams into centre half forward, and McNaughton's taken the mark. So a promising move in the opening seconds of this third term, but I'm surprised, Brian Cousins, to see Pensini on the bench.
Well, I thought he gave them a target at centre half forward. I'd suggest he had 8 or 9 possessions from centre half forward in the first half, which is a good effort, but perhaps Ken Armstrong's looking for some more mobility in his forward line.
Well, this is a very important kick from McNaughton. They needed a goal there. It's still in play. Jackson down there. Chance for Hasty. Wanted one attempt too many. Oh! He's been awarded the free kick. The umpire indicating he was held when he didn't have it. He had it. Just a matter of how he got rid of it.
Yeah.
Well, there's no... Surely, if it was going to be a free kick, it had to go the other way for holding the ball. This might be the break that Perth needs. Mick hasn't had his kicking boots on today.
A lot of players down on form. They seem to have lost some confidence, the Perth players, Brian, from earlier in the season when we saw them.
Yes, I would agree with that. There doesn't seem to be the same amount of enthusiasm in their method of play, and individual players aren't demonstrating the same confidence when attacking the ball.
Freeman, undecided. Finally favours the outer side, and a good pass finds O'Brien. Bryan kicks towards the wing on the outer side. Going back Marnie. Coming up to meet him was Curley. Now Painter. On it goes to Curley. Curley kicks to the pocket, and Hall in front of Nicholas is marked. West Perth running hard. That pass was a little bit too shallow for Thomas. And now Perth work it out. Allard to Russell Clark. Breaks 2 tackles from Ivelich and Simmons, and finds a teammate in Zakos. Zakos kicks to the wing, and McNaughton again in front of Painter. The lead is from Davis. West Perth slip into the slot there through Valentine. It squirts out, and Jackson's in the van. Paddles it to Willie Dick. With him is Freeman, and together they work it over the line and out of bounds. 73 plays 29 in favour of West Perth. Jackson doing the ruck work for Perth. Jones for West Perth. Jackson with the height advantage. Jones wins the tap. McNaughton at the side. Beaten by Painter. In comes Barrich. Down goes Painter. Close to the boundary West. It ricochets back into the field of play off Valentine. Taken by Williams, who finds Allard. Allard from 70 metres out, kicks long. Freeman got a ride over Davis, but couldn't hold the mark. Did well at ground level. Russell Thompson and Tuvey. Back it comes to Barrage from outside 50. He kicks long. He's way off target and out of bounds off the hands of Mifka.
Throwing it left full forward for Perth. They need an early goal, and they've had a couple of opportunities. It's 11-7 to 4-5. And there's Painter, collided with Barrage. Dick, clean possession almost. Hasty, got it. No, he hasn't. He's pulled it too far. Well, he really has had a tough day in front of goal, Mick Hasty. He missed a couple he should have got. That was obviously a much more difficult shot. But the break's just not going Perth's way.
You think Painter nearly finished up on the canvas?
Yes. Easel and all. Here's Painter again. He was held.
He's down again. He's got to brush up a bit.
Yeah. He's at right half back. He has the free kick, and he's played pretty well this afternoon. He gets it up to centre wing. Beautifully weighted kick. Harris Booming kick towards the half-forward line. Nicholas is there. With him was Hall. West there also. And it's West who emerges from that pack with the ball. He's 40 metres out from goal. This would be a telling blow. It's a good kick from Robert West, the 92 Sandover medalist. And that really makes it tough for Perth now.
And it probably tells the tale of the way the game's played. We see there it's the 5 minute and 12 second mark of this quarter. And I think that's the first time the ball's gone into the West Perth forward line. Perth have had it up there for the first 5 minutes. And then just through persistence from West Perth, the ball, well, actually spills, I suppose is the correct word, to West, and they kick a goal.
2 goals to Robbie West today now. 12-7. The lead out to 49 points. Perth of 4-6. Pears and Wasley. Wasley beats him again, down to Williams though. He kicks straight up in the air. Over the top of Cable there is Todd Curley, who backs out of the traffic, dispossessed by Cable. O'Brien, hand pass smothered. West, Thompson over the top, and too high, says the umpire. Robbie West is starting to become a very dominant player. He kicks out wide. Todd Curley again. Gets rid of Zakos. Hand pass to Tuvey. Marnie's got him. He hand passes it straight to Russell Thompson, who goes to Marnie, to Zakos. Zakos goes short. Barrich closing his Damon. Barrich was held, the tackle lingered, and Adrian Barrich with the free kick. Not much doubt about that.
Didn't get them anywhere though, did it?
The kick to centre wing. Painter was the big fist. The front of the pack, Perth. Hand pass upfield. McNaughton feeds Allard. Allard from 55 metres, won't reach. Mifka at the back of Hasty. Across the goal line he goes. And that's good defence by Paul Mifka. He kicks to half-back, but to nobody in particular. And West Perth hopelessly outnumbered here. Cable does well, got it down towards Williams. Good shepherding by Willie Dick. Bought some time for Williams. Kick is a shocker. Perth again through weight of numbers should win out, but there's no guarantee. Cable. Nicholas from the middle. Foot pass for McNaughton is too far. First back will be Painter. Slaps into the path of Freeman, who goes for McNaughton. Good hip and shoulder. Pears chipped in. So does Painter. Wasley tackled by Allard and loses it. Now Damon. And again West Perth work it out pretty well.
This is Tuvey at right centre wing. Chips it to half forward and Hall. He's got on top of Nicholas through weight of opportunity, I'd suggest. Now O'Brien from the 50-metre line. It's a good kick. Simmons is back there. Off the ground goes Ivelich. The 13th for the Falcons. They're 13-7. Perth are 4-6. And just to give you some idea of how stingy this West Perth team is at the moment, Mifka refused to concede that behind down there a moment ago, and they've kicked a goal at the other end.
We just saw then Darren O'Brien kicking that ball. I particularly watched Darren O'Brien. He was down in defence when the ball was kicked out to the outer wing. He ran hard down the middle of the ground, ran past 2 Perth players who chose not to chase him, and he ended up getting the ball 80 metres further down the ground off Hall. And it was his kick that was eventually knocked or socket through for a goal.
Very disappointing display by the Demons today, with so much at stake for them. They've shown very little passion for the red and black jumper, I'm afraid. Williams' kick is out of bounds on the full, and I think that's almost indicative of the way the Demons are going at the moment. And the West Perth Brains Trust will be very happy with the situation here at Lathlane. They would have expected more than this, more opposition than this. Valentine. O'Brien. Valentine again. Valentine goes long towards full forward, and a good strong mark taken by Hall in front of Nicholas.
Trevor, if we can just use the example again, the West Perth players are running in to congratulate young Valentine, who passed the ball to O'Brien. Willie Dick was alongside him, and Valentine ran past O'Brien, who he'd given the ball to. Willie Dick chose not to chase him, and the ball's ended up from Valentine's kick with Hall.
Shooting for number 3 from 35 metres, makes no mistake, and this is turning into a one-act affair here. West Perth go to 14-7, that's 91. Perth are 4-6-30. And I'd say the Demons can kiss goodnight to this game, Brian. They've got no chance whatsoever the way they're playing.
Yes, well, there's certainly a lack of enthusiasm and interest and just a basic preparedness to work hard. And they probably have got to get back to probably the most simple philosophy in footy, and you've got one opponent out there, and if you beat him and all your team do it, you've certainly got a much better chance than what they have the way they're playing at the moment.
61 points is the margin now, and just 10 minutes gone in this third quarter, and some very worrying signs as far as season 93 is concerned for Ken Armstrong, I would suggest. If they're to lose this game, that would be 3 on end that they've lost, as O'Brien works that little bit harder. Play allowed to go on. Cummings went without it. Back comes Harris. Back towards the pocket. Wilson did pretty well from the back. Cummings gets it towards the boundary line, but he didn't get it far enough. Simmons was able to keep it in. No, he wasn't. Ivalich goes out. The throw will take place about 25 to 30 metres around from the West Perth goal. Hall doing the ruck work, opposed by Nicholas. Ivalich. Zakos applying the tackle on Curley before the ball had arrived. It's cleared away by Nicholas towards the outer side of the ground. Piers is out there with him, Wosley. Wosley did well to get the ball, but then gave it away. Piers fights hard at ground level. Russell Thompson across the top to Barrage. Barrage, that was intended for Howardson. It made it pretty tough for him. Jackson comes back and picks it up. Barrage has it again. He won a hurry. O'Brien almost got him. Kicks to centre half forward, was pushed off the kick, and Freeman takes the relieving mark. Bringing it across the face of the ground, taken by Valentine. Valentine up towards centre wing and Mildenhall. He's got support, but chooses to go long. And they've done that with telling effect since quarter time. Thomas not able to take the mark up the top. Zakos and Thomas in a foot race towards the outer boundary. The boundary wins.
Pretty cool out there for the supporters. There's Steve Woodhouse, the West Perth General Manager, in the red and blue shirt, tracksuit top.
He made a good move, didn't he? He was here, I think, wasn't he?
At Perth, I think he was, yes. There's Robbie West again, figuring prominently. Long kick to the pocket. Wilson had his name on that. Chips it to Allard, who marks in front of Mildenhall. 61 points in favour of West Perth. The kick towards centre wing. Jones backing back. Jackson gets a tap across the pack. This is Damon, who got away from Willie Dick. Delays the hand pass, puts it out in front of Valentine. In trouble. Caught by Pearce. Was given some latitude by the umpire. Curley. Kicks into the pocket. Derek Hall again in front of Nicholas.
I think
square. And Curley has marked 45 out and directly in front.
Sorry, Trev. I think Dick must be injured. He took a long time to get back on his feet after that short chase back at half forward. He's holding his left calf.
This is Todd Curley, number 11 for West Perth. Kicked a beauty on the run. Now he's kicked from a set shot. He's offline. 1 point only. Doesn't look too happy, Brian, does he? He's like you.
We're both suffering from the same complaint, I think.
Brian's having a good day.
How are your calves?
A paddock full of them.
Russell Clark has found John Zakos at centre half back. What a way to spend a Monday holiday, eh, Brian? You could be enjoying yourself somewhere. Yeah. Jones was going nowhere. Allard, Clark through the middle, ran his full measure. Drop punt towards McNaughton, with him as Painter. I think he was held Painter, not according to the umpire. Freeman to Damon, and the Falcons rebound again. Damon with old legs, but with plenty of run. Kicks to full forward. Thomas up. couldn't hang on. Wilson, the spoiler. Back comes Thomas. Held the ball with one hand. Nicholas and Hall are there. Nicholas has got to recover quickly. Run down by Ivalich. Simmons has got the loose ball from the pocket. He threads it through. No, it touched the post.
And the numbers at the fall, the ball there were West Perth. When the ball spilled after Nicholas had done an excellent job to ensure that Hall didn't take that mark. He just lacked support, but the West Perth players were there in numbers.
So Wilson about to bring the ball back into play for Perth. Short kick has found Williams, and he's been one of Perth's better players. Certainly he's kept running. His disposal's been a little ordinary at times today, which is unusual for him, a highly skilled player. It was okay that time. Howardson gets it wide to Allard, and away goes Allard. He's at right centre wing now, and there's not a lot happening. This is intended for Davis, who gets in front and takes a strong mark. It'll test his kicking distance. Cable's loose. Good kick. Shane Cable will shoot for goal as Thomas is about to come off and Downsborough goes on for West Perth. The Burracoppin players exchanging places on the ground. And now Cable shoots from about 45 metres, and that's a good kick from Shane Cable and a much needed goal as far as Perth are concerned. That's their fifth. It's been a long time coming. They're 5-6, the Demons. West Perth are 14-9. He's just taking a call to see if it's raining up there. They might need him on the tractor tonight, Brian.
Possibly so. But it's probably one of the best passages of play that Perth have done this afternoon, with a good pass, I think, initially from Williams to Rowan Howardson playing his first game, to Davis, to Cable. But they've been too far and few between.
Back in the middle of the ground, Perth again a chance there through Howardson, Russell Thompson, Marnie, and now McNaughton. So that's a good passage by the Demons. McNaughton tried to kick a boomer, didn't come off. Cable at the back. Socket by Mifka to Harris, who goes back defensively to Jones. And to Jones with a pinpoint pass finds Painter, who hooks towards the wing. O'Brien from behind. Marnie, good hand pass to Dick. Dick a flat punt into the pocket, and Cable is marked 35 out on a 45-degree angle. The kick from about 40. The breeze blowing across the ground. Cable's a beautiful exponent of the drop punt. It's on its way, and it's offline. Freeman to put it back in for West Perth. A big difference between these two sides so far today. It's hard to see Perth getting back the way they're playing at the moment. Freeman looking for O'Brien, but Barrage chips in to take the mark. Too far out to score. He's gone for the pass into the pocket. A player loose in McNaughton, and he's 50 metres out on a fairly acute angle. He's about 15 metres inside the boundary. Mildenhall on the mark, in one of the best for West Perth today. McNaughton, he's kicked a goal earlier in the match. Won't reach. They contest in the square. Mifka flew high from behind, and the umpire will have it. Mifka finishes up with it. He's travelled some ground today, Paul Mifka, Brian, hasn't he?
Yes, playing, I think, initially on the wing. Started there and was very effective early in the game.
Valentine pushes it through, and at one behind. The result for Perth, they're edging a little bit closer, but as you can see there's a big margin between the two sides. South Fremantle have broken away from East Fremantle, and Subiaco have broken away from Swans.
Kick in from Freeman to the members' side of the ground. Cable up. With him was Allard, taken by Lambourne. The two Perth players not talking well then, although Allard applied good pressure and forced the error from Lambourne. The ball has gone out on the full, so it'll be taken by Wilson from about right centre wing. He goes short and finds Marnie. Marnie can go. That's not a good kick. It had to carry to Allard. It put him under pressure. Hurried kick is a good one from Allard. Oh, Williams misses what he should have taken. He's just outside 50 metres. Good kick in the direction of Davis, who almost pulled it in. Went through head down and is rewarded for it with a push in the back. Well, the umpire is rewarding him. So Troy Davis, who I don't think has kicked a goal so far this afternoon, equal first amongst Perth's goal kickers this year, but only 14 for the season. Kicking from about 45 metres. That hasn't improved the situation as far as Perth's concerned at all. Just going back to that phone call that Darren Thomas was taking from Jeff Geeshan, Brian, I was being a little bit flippant about it, but I think to some extent it does show the detail, the attention to detail that Geeshan pays to his coaching and the very personal approach that he has to it. And I remember last week, and Kevin Fergans, our producer, reminded me in the headset, when Hall was called off the ground, immediately something happened so that he can get the message to him while it's fresh in his mind.
Yes, well, I'd suggest that that's probably what did happen, but Jeff Geeshan has built up a great record since he's been in WA with West Perth, and you see today with a lot of young players in the side, he's obviously turning them into a very good football side.
Chance for Dick here, being pursued by Tuvey. Is a very positive coach, Geeshan, and the confidence that he has shown in his players is now being rewarded. They're a pretty close-knit group and they're playing with great purpose. As Valentine immediately kicks it across the face of the ground and puts it out of play.
And they're playing without Craig Nelson, so it's been a good performance.
So the throw-in is at left full forward. Perth in attack, but their goals are taking too long to come.
Well, it's interesting, Wally, they've had the ball on their forward line for the last 10 minutes, I'd suggest, Perth, and they've only got one goal from that result.
Thompson, great snap, hit the post. That's Russell Thompson. A good effort from out there, but Perth need goals, and we haven't seen anything from them since quarter time to suggest that they're going to be able to turn this situation around. They're well out of their depth at the moment. 9 goals behind as the kick in from Freeman is a beautiful kick. Pinpoint accuracy over a long distance taken by Harris. His kick, though, wasn't equal to the previous one, and Marnie chips in to intercept. Williams wants it out wide. It will carry O'Brien, who gives away the kick, or should have given away the kick, I thought. Williams appeared to be held. He comes back and wins possession on the ground. Around the corner to Thompson. It was touch play on the call from the umpire. Howardson has it. Goes by hand to Williams, who can goal from there. He's 45 metres out. Didn't get it up high enough. Mifka got a hand on it. So something of a missed kick from Malcolm Williams. But he certainly had his share of possessions this afternoon.
Yes, his effort for Perth has been probably the best from their side. And he's certainly working very hard, Malcolm, in a side that's very well down on form.
Freeman miskicks it back into play this time, but it lands fortuitously with Harris, who was caught. Thompson kicks it only as far as Damon, in chips Barrich. Jackson gets around Harris, goes very short to McNaughton, with him as Painter, but he's paid the mark. Just the required distance, wouldn't it be, Brian?
Yes, perhaps it was very hard to tell with the camera front on there. I was actually looking very closely. I thought he may have perhaps penalised him for over the shoulder, but it did appear from the umpire's actions he did pay the mark.
So McNaughton, who missed one a few moments ago, from 30 metres out directly in front, he's hooked it and missed it. So we've reached a bit of a stalemate, really. West Perth haven't continued with the same ferocity they had in the second quarter, and Perth, although they're doing a lot of attacking, haven't kicked many goals in this term either. In fact, they've only kicked, is it one or two?
Yeah, they've only kicked 1-4 for the quarter between the two teams.
Cable goes short, lands in front of Painter and McNaughton, and Freeman mops up at the back. This has given him plenty of time from his own defensive 50. 60-metre drop punt to the wing. Zakos right over the top of Curley, interfered with him in doing that, and now he's got the free kick. Got up pretty high.
Wasn't a lot of purpose to it though, was there?
Another good-looking drop punt. Pack rises, Thomas in front of the pack, comes down to Marnie, who feeds Cummings. He boots it to centre half back, in fact through centre half back, Downsborough brings it down for Lamborn, but it missed him and went to Cable. He gave it to Williams. Williams puts it out in front of Willie Dick. Got a beautiful bounce. 60 metres out, goes for home. At the back, Davis interfered with his marksman, but got the mark. But his eyes on the footy. Let's have another look at that.
A great mark there by Troy Davis.
Well, he's the sort of player that could spark a team, but he hasn't figured enough today, unfortunately, for Perth.
He's going to have to start a bushfire.
Runs around, banana kick, and banana result. Or a pineapple. You want to say something, Brian, or you just want to remain silent?
I was just trying to think of an appropriate description for the kick.
How do you feel now as a state selector, Brian? Are you happy with your position?
Hasty gets the ball up to centre. Oh, sorry, West Perth get the ball up to centre wing, and it's knocked on by Lamborn. And the throw-in will take place between left centre wing and the left half forward for West Perth.
It's times like this I wish good judges like Spud Slater are around.
Bit off colour today, I think, Keith. Must have sat up and watched that cricket last night.
Or is it Subiaco?
Nicholas contesting the boundary throw-in with Hall, and Williams at the back. Could have interfered with Hall. O'Brien has it. Players breaking towards centre half forward, but they can't get the ball across there. Hall was one of those players. Back towards the half forward line. Allard chops it off and is able to negotiate Curley. An exchange of hand passes finished up with Zakos. Williams to Cable, who wasn't expecting it. And now West Perth with players ahead of the game. Ivelich from just inside 50 kicks towards full forward. Simmons and Hall back there. Simmons will provide the shepherd. Hall can't find the handle. Well, this game really has degenerated since half-time, and it's a shame because up until that point, West Perth were playing a high class of football. Nicholas to the side of the pack. Clark running onto it. Simmons comes in to join in, and now West. And West Perth are able to keep it in play. West infield to Ivelich. They're about 65 metres from goal as Mildenhall drives it back towards the goal square. Lamborn at the back. Perth have the numbers, but Lamborn recovered best, tried to do too much. Gets it to Harris, who hooks on goal and has missed, and Harris is down. And now he's getting up slowly.
He's copped a few heavy ones today, hasn't he?
Yes, well, he throws himself in, doesn't he? He was met by Allard, who's pretty solidly built.
Treated him like a rag doll.
So Wilson brings it back into play again. Cable is the target from behind Lamborn. Lamborn with the best. Another mistake. That was a good tackle applied by Allard then on Curley. Goes back again. Chance for Cable. He went without it. Mildenhall didn't. Taken head on by Williams. Oh! Well, Mildenhall tried to go through that tackle. I think Malcolm Williams is a bit stiff there. I think the umpire might have been anticipating something that didn't necessarily happen. Still not sure that it should have been against Williams.
Gee whiz, well,
O'Brien has it.
Game to me. Goodness.
And I have no interest in it either, Trevor. Thomas. Good mark. So Thomas will shoot from just inside 50 metres. He's kicked two. He's directly in front. It's a good kick. That's 3 to Thomas, 15 to West Perth. They're 15-10. Perth are 5-12.
Yes, well, this game obviously is going to continue West Perth's march up the ladder and their development as one of the top sides in the competition. But from Perth's point of view, as we see Thomas taking that mark from the short pass, but from Perth's point of view, I'd say this is a very critical game because after their great effort earlier in the year, this game could really set them back a long way, and I sincerely hope that they can regroup for the rest of the game and make sure their season doesn't fall apart.
West Perth have got the kick. Mildenhall gives it back to O'Brien. O'Brien coming off suspension. Drop punts inside centre half forward, and West rode the bump and showed best judgment. Beautiful mark from Robbie West. Could go close from here too. He can kick it over a long way. 55 metres. He's gone for home. It's a good-looking drop punt right on the goal line. They contest, and Cummings pushes it through. Wilson to put it back into play. Just inside the boundary, O'Brien and Allard. O'Brien overruns it. Allard kicks up to the wing. Almost a good mark to Downsborough. Crashing in there very heavily is Jackson, and holding the ball to decision right on the siren. Lambourne didn't like that, and Jackson and Lambourne now exchanging the time of day. The umpire comes in to say, I'm watching you two. And Chepper's a little bit frayed. Right on the siren. Quickly broken up though. Not a great deal of damage being done there. 15-11, 101, and the scoreboard's showing 5-12, 42. On other grounds, East Perth leading Claremont. That'll be a surprise today, Brian.
Yes, East Perth been struggling for most of the season, and to get back on top if they can and get over the top of Claremont will be a great boost to their season for the future.
South look as though they've got East Fremantle's measure, and Subiaco also continue their amazing turnaround for 1993. That's an amazing scoreline when you consider how they started off the year. And obviously, although we don't know officially, the big change there has been Heatley in front of goals, 48 before today, and he could be having another birthday at league headquarters. Here, it's Hall and Thomas who lead the West Perth goal kickers, both with 3, and McNaughton for Perth with 2. But really, Brian, it's come down to an exhibition now as far as this game's concerned.
Yes, just a one dominant side, totally committed to the cause, playing as a unit. All their players prepared to work hard, running forward into attack and then pushing back into their defence to make the numbers there. And we see Jeff Geeshan, and you mentioned Wally. I've never had anything to do with Jeff Geeshan. You mentioned he's a very positive coach, and I'm sure he'll be reinforcing the effort they put up and making sure that they follow through to the end of the game.
Yes, he's taken a while to develop the team the way he would like it to develop, hasn't he? But the message is obviously getting through now, Brian. He's a fellow, I think, who tackles the job with a definite plan in mind, and he knows where he's going, what he wanted them to do, and now that they understand the message, the results are forthcoming.
Yes, and obviously an encourager of young players into his side, and it's very interesting when you watch sides that have struggled, and when they get their act together, they just get on a consistent roll. We've probably seen this year with North Melbourne, with Pagan, that people have been expecting the bubble to burst, but they've just got on a roll, and their players seem to play with a renewed enthusiasm and desire, and to a lesser extent, West Perth have done a similar thing. And today, against a side, the Perth have been competitive against every side they've played this year, and West Perth have come out and just taken them apart.
Passage of play from the third term involving Robbie West, who has got stronger as the games progress. Would you agree, Brian?
Yes, well, looking at the best players, I actually thought O'Brien was probably the most influential player in the game in that quarter, Trevor. So yes, I agree with your comments.
Ivelich has been flashing into the play. There's O'Brien again, and this time it's Ivelich who shows good judgment in the nick of time. He's been a welcome acquisition for West Perth this season, John Ivelich.
Yes, playing only his 5th league game today, John Ivelich, and with his 2 goals.
Okay, don't be lazy now. Don't work so hard for 3/4 of the day to match your by letting them run the ball.
Letting the players know who's in charge there at 3/4 time. We'll find out from Tanya what both coaches have had to say very shortly. But this game really was all over with that 7-goal burst by West Perth in the second term, Brian, that put the Demons out of business.
Yes, well, even in the first quarter, Trev, the signs were there when they outscored Perth by, I think it was 4 goals to 2. They had a lot more of the football than what the Perth side did, and in the second quarter they just tidied their act up a bit together. West Perth, I think, continued with their efforts, and Perth's effort has seemed to just drop away as the game's gone on. They rallied for a short time there in that third quarter, but they just didn't have the precision in their forward line. They had the ball down there for about 10 minutes and just scored the one goal.
Who've been your best players to this point?
For West Perth, they have had a lot of good players, but I thought West was very dominant that quarter. Darren O'Brien as a midfielder has been, I think, one of the very best players over 3 quarters, and his ball handling skills are exceptional. Mifka's been very solid. I actually mentioned on the wing, I think he's played most of the game on the half-back line, but has been a very mobile player. Valentine on the half-back flank continues to impress, and they've had a lot of their other running players in Harris and Mildenhall who have chipped in, and Turley, a lot of good players. For Perth, I find them very, very hard to nominate for players who have the right to be included as their best, and Malcolm Williams, I think, stands alone as their best player, and Allard, who started on the bench, I thought, worked very hard in that quarter and really made an effort to pick up players and try and pick up possessions himself. But other than those two, and perhaps Shane Cable, who after a slow start has got better, they've been very poor.
What do you think this means now, the resurgence in West Perth, looking ahead to the time when they go up to Joondalup? Do you think this can generate some football interest in that area as far as West Perth going to that area is concerned?
I think it's a tremendous move for them going to Joondalup. I think the location of the oval, which is excellent for them. I think a lot of their supporter base is based north of the river and out in that area, and I think it'll be a great step for the West Perth club, and a great step, quite frankly, for WA footy, because I think if it does work, I'm not a huge advocate for decentralisation of the teams, but I think a team in the northern corridor and it will, I think, enhance the fact that one will go to the southern corridor, and I think it'll be great for footy when that does occur.
Tanya Armstrong standing by. What did your father have to say there? Is he obviously pretty unhappy, Tanya?
He's not a happy man, Trevor. It stays like this. I'm happy I don't live at home anymore. He said they must salvage something out of the match. They had 9 shots that quarter, and he said something the same this quarter might bring a different result, some more goals rather than just one. He said they're not going to erase the first half, but they must have a dip for the last 30 minutes. Jeff Geeshan very happy, but he said don't let up. You don't work hard for 3 quarters of the match to let up in the last, and work hard across the half-forward line.
Thanks a lot, Tanya. 101 plays 42 in favour of the Falcons. The Demons going to attack off the boot of Allard. McNaughton and Painter. It's been a good battle. Painter wins this one. McNaughton's got him though. Good endeavour there by Craig McNaughton. Hand pass by Cable. Sharp by Harris. Goes to Lambourne. And then back to Valentine, who finds O'Brien. Backward of the centre circle. In between half-back and the wing. He kicks into the middle. This man has been given far too much latitude today. Mildenhall puts it out in front of Downs, where he got a good bounce. Tackled by Williams. Well done there by Curley. Found some space. Kicks into the pocket. And a good mark taken by Hall. Not paid. Spilled out. And Perth run it out. Williams came from Clark. The Williams kick has been marked by O'Brien. He's looking for all the options. Finally chooses Curley. And he's marked 55 metres out. Running down the ground, O'Brien. Typical of the way he's played today. And typical of the comments you've made for most of the day, Brian, about the run.
Yes, he's been exceptional, O'Brien, a very, very talented player, and we actually saw he chip in and chop off the pass of Malcolm Williams, and then he just passed it beautifully to Curley. Saw space to run into.
Hasn't finished it off though.
Not quite. Saw space to run into. He got the pass back and didn't quite get through for the goal.
So Wilson about to bring the ball back into play for Perth. They kicked 1 goal 8 in that third quarter, the Demons. Here's Malcolm Williams, kicking a little bit like someone else who used to wear this jumper, as I recall. That's a better one. Chance at the back of the pack for Howardson. Good hand pass. Gets it away to Cummings. Cummings up towards the centre of the ground, and Jackson,
it's using your head,
almost knocked him over. Cummings again, running on strongly. Not a good kick. McNaughton was an awkward one to bounce, but he was being but he was being held. Perth are called to play on as Dick kicks towards goal, and Mifka's done it again.
He's saved a few.
That left hand's been very handy this afternoon, hasn't it? A couple of times he's got up right on the goal line and just been able to palm it through. Freeman kicks in for West Perth, spears the pass in, beautiful kick, and it's Mifka who has taken the mark. On he goes with a hand pass. That was Harris who went down. Valentine has it. He's had it often this afternoon. He kicks towards half forward, gets good distance, but a good mark taken at the back of the pack by Cummings. Cummings around the outer side of the ground. Williams is loose out there. comes back in towards the centre square. Russell Thompson. He brings it towards the members' wing. Just cleared Downsborough. Allard has it now. Kicks towards the pocket. Davis used his body well. Hasty tried to get the hand pass through the pack towards Davis, but it was intercepted. And so another opportunity is missed by the Demons. I thought today might be D-Day, a day late, but it's not going to be. Throwing it left full forward for the Demons. Jackson there to do the ruck work, telling Thompson where he wants him, just behind the pack, then knocks it to Davis at the side of the pack, and the sharpshooter has been offline all day. In fact, hasn't kicked a goal so far this afternoon, Troy Davis, is capable of kicking a bag.
He's won it quite a few, down on form for the Demons. Downsborough in front, comes down to Allard. He kicked a beauty earlier today. A long time ago now, though, for Perth. McNaughton trying to go back over his head. It's worked out for him okay because Hasty's taken the mark. This is the sort of goal that Hasty could kick, you know, from the boundary. Not this time.
Any David today, I think, Trev.
I was surprised at the lack of time that he spent, you know, with the breeze the way that it is. It would probably assist the ball going into the goals. He just grabbed the ball, went back and had a pop shot like it didn't matter.
Penetrating kick back by Mifka, beautifully weighted, finds Robbie West on his own defensive 50 still. West Perth kicking today has been a feature, Brian, considering the wind.
Very skillful side. They've stood out very clearly with not only their endeavour and their run, but their skill's been exceptional.
Wayne Damon explodes out of defence, kicks towards half forward to nobody in particular. Zakos is there with Todd Curley. Painter overruns it. Allard turns back, straight into the Painter. Curley dumped. Or was it Tooby? Tooby this time, and Perth got the free kick. Well, that doesn't travel very far either, and lands with Robbie West.
There was two Perth players free and Robbie West in the middle, and he picked him out.
Good kick by West. He's found Painter. Right centre wing. Painter goes towards centre half forward. Not well directed. Perth mess it up again through Williams. Now Marnie, Cummings, Willie Dick. Drives long. Another chance here for Hasty, who's taken the mark.
McNaughton.
He's too far out to score. He's gone further than McNaughton. No, he hasn't. He's found him. He went further than Russell Thompson. But McNaughton has marked 50 metres out, directly in front. Outmarking Mifka. He's kicked one today. What's he done this time? Missed again. Certainly haven't had their kicking boots on today. This is Milton Hall. Gets around Davis. Still got good run. Kicks to the middle of the ground. Allard up over the top. Not paid. Free kick has been paid though now. It's going to Wayne Allard in the middle of the ground.
Allard brings it across to the members' side. Oops. Barrage almost colliding with Williams. He goes back to Williams, was forced to. And Williams is able to elude O'Brien and puts it down to McNaughton at half forward. He's just outside 50 metres, Craig McNaughton. Perth really are inept in attack. They have no goal kickers at all, and I'm not sure the purpose of that. Valentine gets across on Marnie, and Marnie in the end took a pretty good mark. He's not much closer to goal, but he's directly in front. Almost got the pin there, didn't he?
No easy marks.
60 metres out. Jackson up in front. Mifka the flyer from behind. Jackson through the pack, but straight to Jones. And West Perth have 2 or 3 players wherever the ball is. Simmons takes the mark almost on the wing. He started the game on the interchange bench, which was a little surprising. Perhaps had something to do with the players that Perth had on the ground. Painter has it now. Gets it infield to Harris. Harris kicks towards O'Brien on centre wing. Williams gave the contest. This is Curley. And O'Brien, still running as hard as he was 15 minutes ago, will go back on goal himself. He had other options, but chooses to kick the goal himself. That's good play by O'Brien, and just reward for the very hard work that he's done midfield.
And we see Darren O'Brien on screen. Certainly at this stage of the game, he's, in my opinion, being clearly best man on the ground. And we see here just a bit of composure. Wilson ran very hard at him, but he did make it a bit easy when he didn't steady to try and ensure that the play didn't get round him. And Darren O'Brien, a very skillful kick, and brought up West Perth 16th goal.
I was talking football with the 7:30 Report's Alan Carpenter before I left today, and I said, watch out for number 7 from West Perth, Darren O'Brien, back in the side today. I hope you're watching, Carps, and listening. Damon.
And learning.
Yes. Long kick towards full forward. Simmons and Wilson. Wilson spilled it on the way down. He's got back up though from Russell Clark. Over the top then was Tuvey, knocked into the path of Russell Thompson, who goes to Barrich. The kick to centre half forward finds Dick in between centre and centre half forward. That's good run from Howardson. Inside 50, cuts inboard. From just inside 50, the kick won't reach, it's offline as well. Vivka gets his hands to it and runs it through off the back of Freeman.
He scored about 5 points today, hasn't he?
Robert Thompson coming on. Zakos coming off, he's had a dark day. As West Perth run it out again, Mifka. Whoops. In a few of those today from different players. Now Lambourne sizes up the options. Milton Hall not paid. Marnie tackled by Milton Hall, loses it. Thomas pirouetted beautifully, hand passed it straight back there towards Cummings and Nicholas. Now Barrich, and from centre half back he kicks to centre half forward. McNaughton in front, fist was from Painter. Damon the crummer. Damon kicks to the members wing, beautifully weighted for Downsborough. Downsborough goes upfield. Robert Thompson and Curley work it to the boundary. Well done by Todd Curley. Now he goes square, and Williams short circuits that move. Hits the ball in front of his body, good football, and a beautiful foot pass finds Hasty. Hasty kicks towards full forward. Davis in front of Freeman. That's more like the Perth we know as Hasler comes on.
Replacing Ivalich, who kicked 2 goals and now having a rest.
Davis should kick this, surely. Despite the 45-degree angle, it's coming back. Hits the post. Story of the day for the Demons. They just cannot find the target at all. And the trail laboriously on the board. A little bit of movement there, Walt.
Yes, I didn't realise it was that strong. Hasty getting there late. Oh, heavens above. Harris perhaps earned a kick. Play allowed to go on. Freeman has it. Just over 11 minutes gone in the final term. Barrich up. Support now from Nicholas. Or is it Cummings? Cummings it was, I'm sorry. Gets it down to McNaughton on the half-forward line. He goes infield to Howardson, but Harris beats him to it. This is Freeman. Into the centre of the ground. It's all West Perth again. Thomas has it. He's got a player loose on the outer side of the ground. That's a good kick too. Milton Hall got a most unfortunate bounce. Socketed straight to Barrich. On it goes to Russell Thompson. He will be confronted by Lambourne. Kicks into the centre of the ground and Malcolm Williams. His disposal has let him down a little this afternoon. Kicks well this time over a long distance. Jones at the back. Jackson should have done better. He's indicating to the umpire that he got his hand to it, but I'm not even sure that he did. But you would still have paid the mark, I'm sure. Here's O'Brien, arguably the best man on the ground. He's at centre half back. Long shadows over the ground now. The kick towards the outer side was intended for Thomas. Cummings got there in the nick of time. Valentine underneath all that. Chance for Lambourne. Kicks out wide and finds Milton Hall at left centre wing. He's been another very good player. The ball eludes Clark. Nicholas provided good backup. Clark again to Cummings. Out wider still to Marnie. Marnie down into the pocket and Dick. Two West Perth players out there, so you would assume that there's a Perth player loose somewhere as Dick kicks back in towards the forward pocket and Troy Davis takes the mark 40 metres from goal. He's on a fairly acute angle. Perth haven't kicked a goal so far in this term, and they still haven't. That's out on the full, I would think. So it'll be a free kick to West Perth, and it'll be taken by Paul Mifka, who has done most of his work this afternoon within a metre of the goal line. 13 and a half minutes gone in this final term. Tuvey.
Good kick by Mifka. Interesting if Darren O'Brien is voted best on the ground. Before his suspension, he was best on the ground against Swans, I think, Brian. Big ride there from Todd Curley, but he gave away the kick to Robert Thompson. Robert Thompson to half forward. Tuvey misses the mark. Mildenhall misses it altogether. And Williams off the side of the boot. It just landed in the field of play.
Does it go with the jumper, Brian?
No, I don't think so. He's certainly not carrying on the great kicking tradition that jumper does have.
I'm just trying to think who wore it before you, Brian. Downsborough was up from behind to fist that towards the boundary, and a boundary throw in. Downsborough. Pensini against him this time. Pensini wins the tap. Tuvey and Barrich. Tuvey gets the hand pass. West couldn't control it. Howardson to Jackson. Jackson goes backwards. Davis. Run down by West. Play on, calls the umpire. Willie Dick to Cable from 50. Good snap from Cable. Brilliant kick from Cable. He's put it through for a goal. Well done, Shane Cable. Something for the Perth supporters late in the day as Cable brings up his second, Perth's sixth. But a little bit, but a long way too late for Perth.
Certainly has, Trevor, and they've had to work so very hard for their goals when West Perth, on the other hand, have just worked the ball down the ground in an organised fashion. And today Perth just haven't had the cohesion in their forward line, but nonetheless that was a good long goal by Shane Cable.
East Perth, South and Subi could be the other winners today in league football in WA.
Major upset if East Perth was to win as Howardson drives Perth forward again. That's a good kick from 50, but it hasn't quite got the carry, and guess who? Paul Mifka, arm outstretched.
Is there an award for that, Brian?
Off-hands award.
The most touches of the day.
Well, he's going to have a stiff left arm, isn't it? It's been up there half the day. Chance for Williams to drive Perth back towards the goal line. Needed to take it at the first attempt. Takes it off. Russell Thompson gets it towards the square. Mifka almost again. Freeman back to Mifka in the pocket. They're working in a pretty tight situation down there as Willie Dick takes Painter out, and the throw-in will take place 30 metres around from the Perth goal. It's 16-12 to 6-something, 19. 6-19 Perth as Jackson is there. Damon over the top. Thompson back towards the goal square, but Freeman, the only player there, and he takes the mark. Freeman towards the outer side of the ground. Oh, Mildenhall is 20 metres in the clear. Away he goes, and no one's getting closer to him. Simmons running with him, telling him to keep going. Now two players come at him. He kicks long to the square, telling kick. Comes to Harris. That's a brilliant transference of play by West Perth. A superb kick in. Well run by Mildenhall. And then Harris roving well in the goal square.
And I think that probably tells the story of the game, that on the screen there you can only see the immediate player, which is Simmons, but there wasn't a Perth player probably within 30 metres, and all the closest players to him were his fellow West Perth players. And
A real
off the
roving
congestion
goal.
in the pack. Darren Harris, sorry, not Darren O'Brien, was at the front of the pack and brought up his second goal.
And coming off the ground. And a real Rovers goal, Brian.
Yes, no, good performance. He's been a very good player throughout the course of the game.
Took some heavy knocks too during the course of the day. Downsborough wins the tap. Mildenhall Sockers. Now he's got a race with Williams. Interesting matchup of pace here. Williams has got to the front near the boundary. Mildenhall knocks it back. West.
Sounded like your past profession, Trev.
Comes up handy sometimes, Bob. Hasler from 50 has put it through. No, he hasn't. Wilson has marked it right on the line. Gee, I thought it.
Well, you did your best to talk him into it, Trev. What are you going for? You're going for percentage now,
You're
eh?
not going to be a bad loser, eh, Brian? What sort of a jump is that? The logo hanging off. Jones, big leap, crashed into the pack. Barrage finished up with it. This is Howardson on the Mettlers wing. Kicks the centre half forward. And McNaughton
Cable.
a bit more than Lambourne. And Cable picked the goal from here about 3 minutes ago. Runs to 45. Drop punt on the way. Splits the middle. And Cable brings up number 3. And Perth at least putting a little bit of heart into this last term.
Yes, Shane Cable, that's young Rowan Howardson playing his first game today, but Shane Cable's a player, started very slowly in the first quarter in the centre of the ground, but then I felt he's been a pretty solid contributor for Perth, and that's his second goal for the quarter and his third for the afternoon.
One just gets the feeling a little bit, Brian, that West Perth have been inclined to coast instead of wanting to nail the Demons completely. Do you think, or not?
I think they're entitled to, aren't they, Brian? This is Clark who's taken the mark. Certainly, I think the tempo's gone out of their play, but Geishan taking a couple of players off to give them a break, and they've done more than enough to win. Willie Dick, that's a big leap. Fortunately, he got his hand on it. I think he would have been penalised. Damon clears out of defence. Back to the half-forward line, and Hasler takes the mark at ground level. This is O'Brien. Back towards full forward. Hall is in best position. Almost took the mark. Marnie off hands. Not too many options now. He goes looking for Cable, but Hasler will get in front. Cable took it superbly down in the direction of Allard, and he is in front of Mildenhall. There haven't been too many in front of Mildenhall throughout the afternoon. Allard takes him on. Kicks in towards the pocket. Davis.
It's come to light.
All too late. And he was taken high in the opinion of the umpire. Another one of those difficult ones. It looked as though he ducked under the arm once the tackle was applied. Perhaps it slipped up. But Troy Davis from 60 metres spears the pass into Hasty. So a late flurry here from Perth will improve the scoreboard to some extent, but it really has been a very disappointing display by the Demons, being touted as a finals prospect. They're 6th, or they were 6th before today. Oh, what a mark! Too tall, Toby. Gee, he could have hurt himself. He's just a little winded, I suspect. But that was a remarkable mark. He was really off balance. Let's have another look. Went far too early. Kept his eye on the ball, but landed in the right place.
It's a Gary Ackman mark.
It was. Gee, that was a good effort, actually, because he did obviously go too early, but he kept his eye on the ball, and instead of giving away a kick, was rewarded with a spectacular effort. Kicking for Perth's 8th goal. And it wasn't even close.
No win. Aaron Harris having a well-earned drink. Played a great game today.
I don't think you'd need an ice pack, would you?
Wish we had that blanket up here.
Haven't you got one on your lap there, Trev? Or was it a hot water bottle?
That's my what? Downsborough outmarked. Not paid though by Jackson again. Got his win back anyway. Pensini beaten by Downsborough. TV spinning like a top in there. Pushes it out to Valentine. Now Lambourne back to the centre wing, kicks to half forward, and Hasler kicks long towards full forward. Thomas in front, pushed out by Marnie. Hall gets through a narrow opening and hooks back on goal, but he's offline and at one behind the result. But it's ridiculous that behind the goals there, with children coming onto the ground, and rightly so, the umpire giving them a little speech. Absolutely ridiculous.
Look, there's one little fella there about 2-3 years old.
Yeah.
Little toddler just being lifted over now.
Makes you wonder where their parents are. Wilson just keeps it in the field of play, and Russell Clark marks it a metre inside the boundary. Another short pass finds Cummings. Cummings puts it out in front of Clark. Clark kicks towards the flank, bounces at centre wing. Jones with Jackson. Now Thompson confronted by West. Allard intercepting again Jones. It was a shocking kick from Allard. He goes back to Painter. Painter to Lambourne, and Lambourne finds Robbie West on the half-back flank for West Perth.
Well, 24 minutes gone in this final term as West Perth working around the outer boundary. This is Damon. Gets the ball back in towards the centre square. Tuvey has it. He runs directly at centre half forward. Kicks long, beautifully weighted kick. Hall at the back. Was a good kick. Tuvey had worked out the situation back there in the goal square. Both Hall and Nicholas sprinting back towards the goal line.
And you see actually here Hall just props that bit, doesn't he, well, and gives himself that bit of room so that he can mark the ball and just hold up the movement of Nicholas.
Well, he's kicked 3 already this afternoon, Derek Hall. He's kicked 4 now. And West Perth have their 18th. They're 18-13 to 7-20. 59 points is the margin.
Terrific mark, Brian.
Yes, it is. It's great judgment by Hall. It's been a trademark of his play, is his movement in the forward line and his ability to read the play. And it's a great goal from West Perth. They're 18th as we move into the 25-minute mark of this last quarter.
Remarkable fight back by the Sharks.
Yes, a point the difference with Eastern Mantle hitting the front after trailing for most of the day.
And one of the ball-overs of the year would be East Perth beating Claremont today.
Claremont will rue that, won't they? This is a chance for them to get near the 5.
Downsborough won a few taps in the middle, gets it down to Milton Hall. Good mark. Hall again. Simmons. Bullet-like pass up the full forward, taken by Thomas. Turns on a small arc and hooks towards the square. At the back, Jones. What's he doing down there? Rushed through by Marnie. Actually, Jones got a bit of a hiding from McNaughton there at one stage, didn't he?
He did get away from him, Trev, for a while there, and I think they've shifted Hasler now down onto Jackson and brought Jones up in the forward line.
There's the short passing in defence here. They'll get away with it this time, but it's a dangerous practice.
No one wants it.
No. Finally goes right across the goal face to Williams in the back pocket. 3 or 4 kicks there, gain nothing. Kick to half back, and Cable, who's improved. He's found a bit of confidence in this game today after being knocked out a couple of games ago. It would have taken him a little while to regain that confidence he had before that incident. That's Lambourne. Valentine. West to centre half forward, nobody home. Although, yes, Downsborough does very well. Now Milton Hall from 50 metres goes for home and is offline. So it must be very close to the final siren here at Lathlane. West Perth just continue to coast along with a very big margin on their opponents.
Wilson about to bring the ball back into play. Wasn't such a good kick. Thomas got his hand to it. It was intended for Williams, of course. And that's kicking in danger. And there's a bit of a to-do now. Just after the initial kicking in danger incident, you'll see that Williams, I don't think he deliberately got Thomas the second time, but there did appear to be something happen there. Well, there appeared that something else happened. Let's have a look. There's the first one. Soft shoe shuffle. I hope it was a soft shoe shuffle. But Thomas has the free kick and Mildenhall takes the mark. Not much point getting yourself into strife at this time of the game, is there?
Hard to believe.
18-15 to 7-20 is the score. The margin 61 points in favour of West Perth, as Mildenhall lines up from about, he'll kick from just inside 50 metres. It's a good kick, a very good kick. That adds to Perth's woes, and that section of the Lathlane Park grandstand revelling in what's happening here. We need a wide shot to get you, sir.
You can't pull somebody's scarf off, can you, like that?
And we see Neil Mildenhall on screen there, the kicker of the last goal. Started the game in sensational fashion, been steady throughout, and then playing a great last quarter.
Very impressive scoreline for the Falcons. Gee, Downsborough's been impressive in the middle of the ground. Won quite a few taps. Umpire this time will bounce it down again. Downsborough and Wasley, probably players who could give Craig Nelson a bit of support, Brian.
Yes, well, they've done an excellent job. Wasley started the game. His first quarter was excellent. Has drifted out of the game, and then I think they changed their bigger fellas off the bench.
He's going to lose it now.
Unfortunately, has lost the plot a little bit, and he's a player with enormous ability. Just got to learn a little bit of control. Thomas got a hand to that, couldn't hang on to it. Does very well the second time, and then steadies, kicks long towards the goal line, and Hall again. Couldn't hang on.
He's getting a kick though.
Yes, I think the umpires are pulling the kick out here. I think they're probably just going a bit of control, but Malcolm Williams, I feel a bit for him. I don't condone his actions at all, but at the same time, he's worked his butt off for his side today, and it's probably frustration and disappointment, I think, in the overall effort of his team.
This will need a good kick from Hall. Can he work out the angles? He's used the banana. Very good effect. He's kicked 4 goals today, or 5 now. And that was a very good kick indeed by Derek Hall.
And he's become a dominant player, Trevor, after probably the first quarter and a half, where I thought Nicholas clearly outpointed him early. But to Hall's credit, it's the nature of the player. He just keeps persisting with his game, and it's a very good, I think, attribute to have of a player that when you're getting beaten, you can turn it around and get on top. But he hasn't just got on top. He's dominated his position, probably certainly in the second half, and probably from halfway through the second quarter.
73 points is the margin. This is the second hiding that Perth have got in 3 weeks, and that's a bad sign. A lot of work for Ken Armstrong in the next few weeks if he's to turn this team around, as Williams drives West Perth forward. He gets the ball inside 50 as the siren sounds, and West Perth have won this game, and now it's on again between Willie Dick and Robbie West, 2 of the better players in the competition, and Willie Dick's prepared to continue this little altercation. That's Ivalich in there now, but originally it was Dick and West that were involved. But I don't see much point in players from either team getting involved in it now, as West Perth have won this game. They have won it convincingly, as I said, by 73 points. 20 goals, 15, 135 to Perth 720, 62.
Well, very impressive victory by the Falcons here today, and a few players upset as they leave the ground. The Demons dispirited, and West Perth completely dominant for most of this match. The 7-goal second term made it very tough for the Demons from then on, and that may be a reason why Willie Dick got a bit upset. Hall kicked 5, Mildenhall, Thomas both 3, O'Brien and West 2 each. Cable finished up the leading goal kicker for Perth with 3. Tanya Armstrong is downstairs. She'll be talking to one of the West Perth players. But Brian Cousins, what were your thoughts of that game today?
Oh, I suppose, Trevor, an excellent performance by the West Perth side, a side that's obviously playing with absolute confidence. They knit very closely together as a side. Evenness all over the ground, and even the couple of players that were down early, which was only a couple of them, they really rebounded back very, very strongly.
Just for Alan Carpenter, here's Darren O'Brien with Tanya Armstrong.
Darren, that turned into a one-sided game. You probably wouldn't have expected that on the way to Lathlane.
No, I thought it'd be a very hard game today. They got a very good side, so it's just good to come away with 4 points.
The loss of Craig Nelson on the eve of the match could have unsettled you, but you seem to cover his loss pretty well.
Yeah, that's right. Nelly's a good player, and Stephen Mosley coming in done a great job today for us, so that's good.
Your running players did the damage again. That 7-goal second term sealed the match for you, more or less.
Yeah, that's good. Well, we've been doing, we trained 5 nights this week, so all the boys are pretty fit, so it's really good.
You're right up there in the top 3 sides. Is it time people started to take West Perth seriously?
I think they should. After today's game, I think they should.
Thanks, Darren.
Thanks, Tanya.
Darren O'Brien, one of the best on the ground. Brian Cousins today?
Yes, I'd think so, Trevor. If I run through best players, Darren O'Brien would get my 3 votes for the best player on the ground. I thought Milden Hall was tremendous throughout the course of the game. Valentine on a half-back flank impressed me a lot. Lambourne, Harris, West, Mifka. Freeman's one player we didn't mention during the game, but at full-back he never made a mistake and cleared the ball. His kicking was excellent, I think, out of full-back, and Painter on a half-back flank was excellent. For Perth, Malcolm Williams, I thought almost played a lone hand. Great performance. Other players were very hard to find over 4 quarters, but during the course of the game I thought Shane Cable did well. Russell Thompson, Davis in the forward line picked up a lot of kicks, and I don't know what he would have ended up with, 6 or 7 points. But other than those 4, I found it very hard to find players that were worthy of a mention.
And West Perth from here, Brian, you see them going on with it for the rest of the year?
I would have no doubt that West Perth are going to play a role in the finals, and the thing that impresses me so much is just their evenness, Trevor, all over the ground. You know, their players were well organised, obviously very well drilled, well coached, and played with great enthusiasm.
And where did Perth go from here?
Well, this is a very critical time for the Perth Footy Club. They've come a long way in 2 years from a club that had quite a few problems. Today will really set them back, and I'm sure Ken Armstrong's experience, he'll have to do a lot of work to make them regroup.
Thanks, Brian, and thanks to Wally Paul, but also to Tanya Armstrong. And I hope you enjoyed our coverage of this game from Lathlane today.